Thank you for coming to listen to this presentation. Um, I the title of the presentation is "The Restoration of African Greatness," and that would imply that Africa has had a period of greatness in the past, and that somehow this greatness has been lost over the period, and that there's something that we have to restore. The common view, at least in the 20th and 19th and 20th century, that Africa was a dark continent, basically uncivilized savages until the white people so graciously came to save them and take care of their um, brothers and make them civilized and so on, which is actually the opposite of the truth. Africa had a very great civilization um, until the Europeans who came and basically destroyed all the civilization that existed in Africa. And we will go into that a little bit in detail. But part of this, why we don't know much about this
Govinda,
great. Yes.
excuse me, but you're going to have to go a little slower. Maybe
Okay.
pause a little bit after
There's
each
translation.
sentence.
Okay.
Yes, and they're not, we're doing our best we can with volunteers who are working really hard. Thank you.
Yeah. So the reason that we do not know, some people know, of course, and here maybe there are those who are great students of African history, but people in general are not aware of the African history because it was on purpose done like this. Even many famous historians seems to have lost out on Africa. For example, Hugh Trevor Ropers, who is the Regius Professor of History at Oxford University, he wrote in his book, The Rise of Christian Europe, he wrote, undergraduates, seduced as always by the changing breath of journalistic fashion, demand that they should be taught the history of Black Africa. Perhaps in the future, there will be some African history to teach. But at the present, there is none or very little. There is only the history of Europeans in Africa. The rest is darkness, and darkness is not the subject for history. Obviously, Professor Trevor Ropers got this very wrong. He got it almost as wrong as when he, some few decades ago, pronounced that the infamous Hitler diaries were authentic and written by Hitler, and he had a lot of egg in his face for that. And he was equally wrong when it comes to Africa.
Excuse me, Govinda, you're still showing the title slide, correct?
Yeah. I'm starting now. This is present. It will start to go now. This is just the introduction. Now let us then go and let us now start to look at a little back. We will start this presentation by looking at some of the civilization that existed in Africa before the Europeans came. And Africa does not only have a glorious history, it also have the most exciting and most meaningful prehistory of any continent on the planet, simply because it was in Africa that humanity arose. before the human beings came, we had like pre-humans, like the Australopithecine hominid species, which first appeared around 4 million years ago. The oldest fossil that exists of these were Lucy, which was dated at 3.2 million years ago, and that was found in Africa. Now, also the oldest remnants of actual human beings, Homo sapiens, were discovered in Africa, and they are dating 315,000 years ago. So for for hundreds of thousands of years, human beings lived in one place only, and that was Africa. Around 50 to 60,000 years ago, humans started to migrate out of Africa and came to Europe and Asia, and so eventually we had humanity spread all over the planet. These are fairly uncontroversial when it comes to most archaeologists and those who studied prehistory. So Africa is of very great importance to the origin of the human species. Around 10,000 to 8,000 BC, that means 10 to 12,000 years ago, humanity in Africa started to become, became farmers. They cultivated wheat and barley. And as early as 4,000 BC, that is 6,000 years ago, they learned the tricks of smelting metals, copper, and other metals, and started to create tools and things with this. Now, this was the turning point from where we could say that prehistory ended, and that's where the history of Africa proper has taken place. So the history of Africa, which is the earliest documented, are in two places. It is Ethiopia and Egypt. Now, we have much more information about the Egypt, so we will concentrate on that, but Ethiopia is also very interesting. Egypt, about 4,500 BC, that's 6,500 years old, started. This is the pre-dynastic period. They were building houses of mud, and the civilization was still pretty primitive. By 3,600 BC, in the dynastic area, they had learned how to make stone buildings that were usually done in square, normal shapes like we have today. They did not use mortar, but they were very careful and knew how to put stones together so they were stable. They used boats for travel. The agriculture was very developed. And a few hundred years later, we see the rise of the Old Kingdom, about 3,200 BC. That was the time where hold on one second. Should have started the timer, so I'm making sure I'm keeping to the format. Okay, so around 3,200 BC, the pyramids were built, and the science and the literature and so flourished. It was a very productive time in the history of Egypt. Science, math, astronomy, medicine, and many other important things were developed well before, long thousands of years before the Greek. And there are Greek texts who confirm this. That is Herodotus, for example, he ascribed the origin of geometry to Egyptians, and there were many who confirmed that their knowledge from the Greek actually came originally from Africa, from Egypt, where they came and studied. And it's a very interesting thing that Herodotus also claimed that Egyptians were the first persons to circumnavigate Africa. Otherwise, we think it's, we've been told that it's Vasco da Gama who did this. But I will read a little quote from Herodotus, who wrote, and you know, he was he was a Greek philosopher, and he lived a few hundred years before our common era. And he wrote, Africa is evidently surrounded by water, apart from its junction with Asia. The Egyptian ruler Necho II was the first to prove this, as far as we know. After he had abandoned the construction of the canal from the Nile to the Arabian Gulf, an undertaking completed by King Darius a century later, he dispatched Phoenicians in ships with the instruction to sail back to Egypt by the way of the Pillars of Hercules, which is the Strait of Gibraltar. They sailed southward from the Erythraean Sea, and when autumn came, they disembarked on whatever coast of Africa they happened to have reached, sowed their seeds, and awaited harvest. Then they reaped the corn and put this to sea again. In the third year, they rounded the Pillars of Hercules and reached Egypt with a report, which may be credible to some but not to me, that as they sailed around Africa, they had the sun to the right. Now, this is very interesting, because if you're traveling westward on the northern hemisphere, then you have the sun to the left. And the Greek did not know at that time that if you went south enough and was south of the equator, if you traveled westward, then you would have the sun on your right. So it gives credence to that, to the claim that actually Egyptians by that time they had able to travel around Africa 1,000 years before Vasco da Gama did.
Excuse me, Govinda. Phoenician and Buduvati are both in the interpretation rooms now. If they can unmute themselves, they can interpret for French and for Portuguese. Guduvati, you're still muted. Okay, Govinda, you can continue.
Ok, Govinda, você pode continuar. Obrigado.
The history of Egypt is not so controversial.
A história da África e do Egito.
Western historians believe it, but there's a twist. They say that Egyptians are not Africans.
As pessoas falam que os egípcios não são africanos por causa de uma questão racial. Os africanos são responsáveis por feitos extraordinários. Sobre a ciência moderna.
But even as early as when the Napoleon's archaeologists went to Egypt, they realized that the ancient Egyptians were actually black, and that
descobriram os arqueólogos.
Okay, I will quote something from Dr. Stanley.
Tá bom, vou falar uma frase sobre o Dr. Stanley, professor de história que dá aula nos Estados Unidos.
Even though there were Caucasians in Egypt at this time, there is nothing to suggest they were more numerous than or drove away the native black population they found in the country. On the contrary, all the evidence point to the
As evidências apontam que os povos negros eram dominantes.
Strabo, Pliny, Tacitus, and Herodotus, who visited the country. The Boyce also concludes that Egyptians were Negroid, and not only that, but by tradition they believed themselves descended from not from the white or the yellow races, but from the black people of the south. Now, why was it so hard for Westerners to accept?
Por que é tão difícil para os ocidentais aceitar que a civilização do Egito veio da África, dos negros? A forma como você descreve a escravidão, até mesmo se você tiver direitos iguais aos africanos, tem uma questão de inferioridade, escravidão. Isso é como as discussões começam. O conhecimento vir da África é um pouco difícil de ser aceito por conta dessas questões. Isso perpetuou durante séculos. So the idea that Africa, it has changed a little bit. Now in the 21st century we've actually had mudou um pouquinho nesse primeiro século por conta de Cleópatra, que aceitou que os egípcios eram na verdade o povo negro da África. Mas isso não era apenas no Egito, em vários lugares. E durante a história da África. Agora vamos para a África Ocidental. Deixa eu ver minhas notas aqui. The Ghana Empire existed. There are different ideas. Existe uma diferença de como eles eram grandes, qual o tamanho deles, em que tempo existiram. But some say it lasted for 1,000 years, and some even claim that it lasted longer than that. What is clear is that it was very rich. O que está claro é que eles eram muito ricos. And with Spain and Portugal. Kwame Nkrumah, who was the founder or the first president of Ghana, he was the one who invented. O primeiro presidente de Gana que inventou o nome Gana. He writes in I Speak of Freedom, he writes like this. For the thousands of years that the Ghana Empire existed, it spread over the wide expanse of territory. O Império de Gana existiu há muito tempo. Its influence far across the Sudan, from Lake Chad in the east to the Futajalan Mountains in the west, and from the southern fringes of the Sahara Desert in the north to the bights of Benin and Biafra in the south. Gana fica próximo ao Saara, o deserto do Saara. Namely from Nigeria in the east to Senegambia in the west. While it existed, the Ghana Empire carried on extensive commercial relationships with the outside world. O Império de Gana tinha vários acordos comerciais com ouro, ferro. e faziam comércios com Espanha,
Portugal,
Portugal, com os europeus.
and other institutes of learning that flourished in Ghana during the medieval period to learn philosophy, mathematics, medicine, and law. It had a strong rulers, strong kings that had
Tinham reis e rainhas fortes que cobravam e ajudavam nessas relações comerciais. Cobravam taxas em uma administração centralizada do capital. Eles tinham quase 50 hectares de terra e boa comunicação. E antes
empires like Ghana Empire started to crumble and disappear. Let's jump to the south of Africa, Kingdom of
Vamos
Zimbabwe.
agora para o sul da África, Kingdom of Zimbabwe, Reinado de Zimbábue, o reino.
And then it was replaced by the Roswe Empire,
que foi abandonado no 15º século. Também realizavam comércios, mas com a China e com a Pérsia.
Stonework, it may not be as impressive as Egyptian pyramids, but it still was so impressive that the white settlers when Cecil Rhodes came to Zimbabwe, the white people came, they believed that there must have been a white.
Quando as pessoas brancas vieram,
all these structures and then later on disappeared and nobody where they were. They were a big mystery because again nobody could
please slow down a bit.
Yeah.
Guruvati, you're still muted. So no translation for French. Thank you. Go ahead.
So it is this prejudice that Africans were not able to do anything great or so because they had already.
Então volta a questão de que os africanos não eram bons.
The truth that Africa had a great civilization with seats of learning and were pretty advanced.
Mas na verdade a África teve excelentes civilizações com bom desenvolvimento. Não vamos a todos os detalhes, mas vamos rapidamente por alguns detalhes e vamos ver que existem várias coisas em comum. E agora os outros reinos africanos que datam dos anos 700 até 1893.
Northern Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, Northern Ghana, like
House States como a Nigéria e alguns outros países. Temos também o Manicongo, República do Congo, que foi até o século XIX.
Travelers from Europe who came during the 15th, 16th, 17th century who wrote about the huge cities, the magnificent organizations.
No século XVII eles falavam de reinos grandes.
Actually has nothing to do with the Republic of Benin today. This was a Yoruba kingdom that was in the center of Nigeria.
Temos também o reino do Benin, que foi até o ano de 1500. Os Ashanti
by Osei Tutu in 1670, and where he
Foram
united
fundados por Osei
tribes
Tutu
that
em
existed
1670,
almost 1,000 years earlier, but with his high priest Khonfu Anoche, they founded the
eles faziam comércio
Ashanti,
com
and their headquarters
Portugal,
in Kumasi, in the present in Ghana. They traded in the beginning with the Portuguese when they started knocking on the doors, and
no começo
they
faziam
fought
comércio
5
com
wars with the British, and
Portugal.
most of these wars were lost by the British.
Tiveram 5 anos de guerra com
Battle
os
that matters.
britânicos,
And the
perdendo
final war
bastante.
was in 1900, where Ashanti lost, and the British were tired of having to fight, so they burnt down the capital and they took all the leaders and exiled them from the country. Now, but then the
Agora,
question is, in all other
outra
countries,
questão
they
é,
had a big
em todos esses
great
países,
history and a lot of
na grande história,
powerful kingdoms, and so they don't just vanish and disappear in history, like totally forgotten, and there's no trace of
muitos
them.
desapareceram
What
na
was it
história e
that
foram
broke down and destroyed Africa? Well,
e
it
ficaram
was the
para
slave
trás.
trade. This is an interesting
Agora vamos falar sobre
understand the
o
suffering.
comércio de
This
escravos.
is a illustration of how
Temos
slaves
aqui uma ilustração de como
in
os
British
escravos
slave ship
britânicos
this one carried
eram armazenados nos
almost
navios,
300 slaves, and they were
aproximadamente
basically
300
and
escravos,
had space where maybe 30, just if a couple of feet, so they could not sit up. They were
e
lying
tinham
throughout the whole
pouco espaço
trip over the
nos
Atlantic.
navios,
Now, the conditions were so bad,
não podiam
so
se acomodar
a third
apropriadamente.
of all the slaves died, or sometimes half of them. But it didn't matter because the trade was
Muitas
so
vezes
costly,
1/3 dos
but
escravos morriam,
even if half of them died,
ou
it
até
didn't
a
make
metade.
difference to the slavers. But how did the slave trade start? How come they came to idea of
Mas
taking
como o
slaves
comércio
from
de
Africa?
escravos começou?
That's also an interesting story.
É uma história interessante.
You know, Europeans,
Você sabe que
as
os
soon as they
europeus,
discovered that there were countries outside Europe,
assim que descobriram os países
they
além da
considered
Europa,
them and treated them as they were their own
eles consideraram por conta
territories
própria
to plunder and use at their own discretion. There was no mutual
planejar
at all. They basically just grabbed and stole and destroyed wherever
viagens
they put their hands.
pelos
That's
oceanos.
how they became richer. Take, for example, in the Americas,
E explorando os outros, começaram a ficar ricos
how they destroyed the Native American population. If
e
anyone is
acabaram destruindo a
interested, you
população
should read,
nativa da
Carry
América.
My Heart at Wounded Knee. Actually, it's the only book I've ever started to read, which I was interested in, which I couldn't finish because it was just too depressing and too gruesome of all the horrendous acts that the Europeans did, and the destruction of all the African civilizations.
Os europeus destruíram muito a
They just
sociedade
stole
africana
gold, like the Incas, the Aztecs, and
por conta do ouro
resources and so on,
e recursos
enslaved
naturais,
people and they exterminate them. But
e os escravos
this is where
exterminavam as
there was
populações
something that was
nativas,
very valuable. There was sugar.
mas eles
And
descobriram
sugar
algo muito
became
valioso, o
Europe
açúcar.
became addicted to sugar, and it became one of the
E
world's most valuable
as
commodities.
pessoas
The
acabaram
problem with that sugar
viciadas no
required
açúcar,
a lot of cheap or even preferable free labor for it to work.
Então, o crescimento da cana-de-açúcar precisava de uma mão de obra barata
the first
e
logical
livre.
thing was to take the Native Americans, but it turned out they were not very useful as slaves because they had the audacity to die when you put them to work.
As populações nativas das Américas não eram boas como escravos, porque eles ficavam doentes e morriam muito fácil quando colocados para trabalhar.
Just one second.
Immunity, they didn't have
Uma
immunity.
África
That was some noise.
Uma gripe comum era muito mortal para eles, para os nativos, por isso não eram bons escravos.
European diseases, and that killed probably as many
E as doenças que os europeus levavam matavam eles muito facilmente. Bom, quando os africanos foram capturados, eles foram levados para o Novo Mundo para trabalhar e eles descobriram que os africanos eram muito resistentes a qualquer doença dos brancos, porque na África as doenças eram comuns e fortaleciam a população negra da África.
West Africa was called white man's grave, at least until the time they discovered quinine, because they were all dying particularly in malaria. Okay, anyway, so they found out that,
Ok, de qualquer forma, eles descobriram que as pessoas negras eram muito melhores para sobreviver quando comparadas com os europeus. E eles eram acostumados ao clima tropical. Ou seja, os africanos eram escravos perfeitos. Não encontraram escravos melhores.
How did then the slave trade? How did they get the slaves? There were many. You could have direct.
Como eles se tornavam escravos?
Europeans just went into places and stole slaves, but you couldn't get enough quantities that they wanted. So instead, they invented that they.
Os invasores africanos criavam guerras civis entre as tribos e ajudavam um dos lados a vencer e depois eles os tornavam escravos.
They would then be captured and be given as slaves to the Europeans.
Então a tribo vencedora se tornava a escrava dos europeus.
This thing about the rivalry, the tribes were already established, so all they did was have to barter for slaves.
Então eles tinham escravos fortes.
Glass beads. You can actually still find some of those in antiquity stores. They're called the trade beads these days. And they were
Eles
very attractive.
Comerciavam muitas coisas que eram muito atrativas.
Africans had now got used to fighting each other and making raids and going for weaker places in order to get the slaves and sell to the white people.
Então é assim que eles faziam.
This caused
Criavam
great
guerras
instability
e
and
selecionavam
collapse
os
of
mais
the whole
fortes.
African society.
Criavam
Nations
instabilidades
owned by
grandes para o colapso
Europeans
da
destroyed
sociedade africana.
all the big kingdoms, and
Os
member
europeus
states
destruíam os reinos
were
africanos
supportive and settled in the same order and started to cooperate with the
e ajudavam na
Europeans
criação
selling slaves, because that was
do
the only
caos.
thing that Europeans were interested in at this stage.
Depois
In the period of 500
comercializavam
years,
escravos.
200 million Africans were taken as slaves. Well, this is the
Por um
higher
período
there are others
de
who
500
claim that
anos,
was less, but there's no evidence
aproximadamente
that it was
200 milhões de
it was
africanos
at least in 20, 30
se
millions.
tornaram
It
escravos.
was as much as 200 million slaves. And this was the end, or the beginning of the end of the African nations.
Então, este foi o começo do
Let's
fim
take an example of
das civilizações
John
africanas.
Hawkins. John
Vamos falar
Hawkins,
agora sobre John
he made 3
Hawkins.
trips to West Africa and
John
stole
Hawkins
slaves,
fez
took them to
3 viagens para a África,
to America, sold them, and
para
he made
o
so
oeste
much
da África.
money on these 3 trips that Queen
E ele
Elizabeth
fez
I
tanto dinheiro
came to
nesta viagem
wanted to support him and wanted to be a
que
part
muitos
owner in the operation.
queriam
And as an
ajudá-lo,
investment, he
assim
provided
como
him with a ship,
a Rainha
which had
Elizabeth,
the name Jesus. And
que se tornou sua
Jesus
parceira de
had
operação.
stole so many more Africans, and the profits were so great that the queen
E os
decided to
perfis,
make him a knight. And as his coat of armor,
o lucro era tão bom
depicted the representation of an African in chain. And
que eles
this
sempre
was
faziam
back in
este comércio.
It was to the 19th century. The slave trade operated continued to operate. What happened was it was basically something we call the triangular trade. You took and stole
O comércio triangular.
bought slaves from Africa and took them to America to work on the
Eles pegavam escravos africanos e levavam para a América do Norte, em que eles produziam açúcar que era vendido para os europeus.
And then in Europe, from the profits, they exported guns, glass beads, and rum to Africa.
Também exportavam armas,
Each of these stages were extremely profitable.
vidro.
And where did all these profits go? It went into finance the Industrial Revolution. You know, even if you want to now make one factory, you need a lot of money. Nowadays, we create money from nothing by the banking system, but in those days, nobody had figured out that wizardry. So in order to get the finance to do something, you needed actually like real cash. And this was the cash machine that made the Industrial Revolution in Europe possible. But
O comércio de escravos foi financiado.
Become strong and established, then the need for slaves
industrial
dropped. Slaves, not because of humanitarian reasons, so that people thought, no, there were a lot of priests and so on argued that slavery was inhumane and this and that. Black people are also people, but that's not why it was stopped. It was stopped for the simple reason that it was no longer profitable. And the reason it was not profitable is that in an industrial state, in a capitalist society, slaves are expensive burden, and it's not really an asset. You have to feed them, you have to buy them, you have to take care of them,
And because they are now your investments, you have to actually make sure they survive and live. But a capitalist producer don't need slaves because the production is done by large machines. So what they need raw materials and markets for the consumer goods. They also need cheap labor, but it's much better to force people into destitution so they would work in the factories for very little wages. Because here you could actually pay them less than what you give to the slaves, because you don't invest any money in them. They come freely to your work, and if they starve to death or they get sick or hurt, you just throw them away and get other workers. So, and another very important thing is slaves have no money, so they cannot buy anything. And a capitalist production needs consumers. And anything you would give to a factory worker, you know you're going to get it back because they are forced to buy consumer goods, food, and other things that are being produced in the factory, so it recycles it. So the bottom line is that the slave trade stopped because there was no need for slaves, and rather it was a burden and a cost on slavery. And we entered the next area, which is the area of colonialism. But why did we have colonialism? It was never intended to start colonies, because what was expected originally is that, am I still too fast, or are you keeping up with the translations? What is needed was, yeah. So what was needed, what Europe needed from Africa was raw materials and markets, and markets for the goods. And it was expected that now, when slave trades ended, they thought that Africans would then come and run and start to work and grow palm oil, which was very, very important industrial raw material, and work in the mines, and then sell this to Europe, and keep on buying silly things. Like in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, what really got it started was the textile industry. But the problem was that Africa, India, China, everywhere they were making textiles that were much higher quality than the one that produced in Europe. So nobody was really interested in it. In the Kente cloth in Ghana was far, far superior to anything that was manufactured in Europe. So the problem that the assumptions were wrong. Africans were not interested to work for the capitalists in Europe and to buy their products. So how do you solve it? It needed a big decision and something seriously to be done about it. And the solution came in the form of imposing colonial rule. It means you took over and run all the countries, and then decided just what people should do, like a dictatorship, an extreme type of dictatorship. The way this started was with this. This started when the decision was taken. It started the scramble for Africa. At the Berlin Conference 1884, the Europeans countries, they divided up Africa between themselves. Well, actually, that's not true. But that was the effect of it. What they actually decided was a simple thing. They said that European armies in Africa will never fight each other. It means that whenever two armies, European armies, meet each other in Africa, They just draw the boundary wherever the armies meet, and so avoiding a war. But that meant basically that whoever got there first, they got the territory without a fight. So during the 20 years from 1880 to 1900, the whole of Africa was colonialized in a very short period. In 1880, there were only two places in Africa that were governed by white people, and that was the Gold Coast and the Cape Province in South Africa. Now, by 1900, all of Africa, except Liberia and Ethiopia, were colonialized and ruled by Africans, by Europeans, and it is exception for Liberia and Ethiopia. Here, what I wrote there, obviously I got the language wrong, all right? But what I mean to say is that Liberia and Ethiopia were independent, and Liberia was actually a place that America had set for freed African slaves. So the only indigenous rules left in Africa was Ethiopia in the whole continent. If you look at this map, the different colors depends on who the ruling thing is. The yellow here is Belgian Congo. The blue is the French. The red is British, and so on. You have Germans, you have Portugal, you have Spain, and even Italian had a little bit here up in the portion of the of Africa. So, what then did this colonialization accomplish? Well, it's the two things again. They needed Africa to export cheap raw materials and to import expensive goods. That was the purpose of it. And how did they accomplish it? Well, they imposed a dictatorship that made sure that it was only European businessmen had exclusive right to do whatever they want in Africa, to do business there. They made sure there was no trade or interaction between African nations. Everything was from the colony to the motherland. They made sure that no industries would be allowed to produce anything in Africa that could compete with European businesses. They were basically only supposed to supply the raw materials that the European businesses was needed, and they needed to make sure that people buy goods. In the beginning, as I say, it was textile. How did they get people to buy inferior quality European suits and trousers like that? By making it compulsory for people who worked in the administration or the only place. Okay, they did it like that. They imposed head taxes on people. It means everybody has to pay tax just because they exist. But the only way to get the money to pay the taxes was to work for the white people in their administration and in their farms. And then so people were forced to go and work for white people in order to get money to pay the head tax. Then they also then imposed that in order to work in a ministry, for example, you need to wear European clothes. So then you created a demand for European textiles and exports. At the same time, there was a religious exploitation. There was imposition of the religious beliefs of Europeans. They suppressed local languages, which were the vernaculars that should be discouraged, and everybody should speak the colonializing powers country language. And the psychic exploitation, which
this was, of course, part of, but the other was the narrative that Africa is a dark continent, uncivilized. There were no civilization here until white people came and so gracefully took care of their small African brothers and made them civilized. It's like Rudyard Kipling talking about the white man's burden, where white people, out of their goodness of their heart, goes out and helps and civilizes the rest of the world. But the truth is the opposite. I think Europeans were the most uncivilized people that ever existed because their extreme greed and their disregard for other people's cultures. And they destroyed Africa.
E eles destruíram a África, destruíram a cultura e falavam que eles nunca tinham sido unidos. Mas tudo vem para um fim, tudo tem um fim. E até mesmo o colonialismo agora temos um problema com o colonialismo, mas
of making African countries suppliers cheap raw materials, imported expensive manufacturing. That was completely successful.
Então, o colonialismo teve sucesso fazendo os países africanos fornecedor de matéria-prima barata e importador de produtos manufaturados. Quando você tem responsabilidade moral, você tem que tomar conta das pessoas, pagar taxas. Isso ficou um pouco inconveniente. Então, a ideia em vários países africanos então, vários países estudaram para sua independência. Então, a melhor coisa era dar a sua independência, porque os países africanos eram fornecedores de matéria-prima e a administração colonial não era mais necessária, era muito cara. E o mais brilhante disso era que as pessoas estavam procurando independência, então dê a elas independência. Então, se você mantém um controle financeiro, esse é o neocolonialismo. Então, eles precisam basicamente da África. Muitos produtos. Então, até mesmo após o colonialismo, a África ainda estava travada. E qual era o propósito da independência da África?
But you could also wash your hands from the responsibility of former colonies and just declare that blame all the poverty and any
Os
problem
países
you blame it on local
europeus poderiam agora lavar suas mãos de qualquer responsabilidade por formar colônias e culpar os problemas de pobreza aos seus próprios líderes. Qual era o plano? Manter as economias travadas e dependentes da Europa. Ter certeza de que não havia cooperação entre os países africanos
and the UK than there is between Nigeria and Togo or Ghana or any of the nearby countries. It's like that all over Africa. But even the neo-colonial
Mas as novas colônias
had to reinvent itself because the economy has changed from
tinham que se render, já que a economia estava mudando. O novo mundo colonial mudou rapidamente para a globalização. E o novo mundo colonial era um pouco diferente.
All manufactured in Western countries. But what happened in globalization is that manufacturing itself was outsourced to not only use the cheap raw materials, now we want to use the cheap
Então agora não queremos usar os materiais mais baratos, e sim melhores.
And also by extracting raw materials and producing manufactured goods,
até mesmo extrair produtos e manufaturar acaba destruindo muito e acabando com recursos naturais.
The Kuznets curve was actually a theory that had to do with how inequality was supposedly become less, I say. Anyway, but in reverse curve, which is what we're talking about here, it's a stipulation that the pollution is little before industrialization. Then as you get in industrialization, pollution became very big.
Então, com a produção acentuada, a população aumentava bastante, a poluição aumentava bastante.
In Western countries, yes, it did happen, but it's because the pollution was not less, but pollution was exported.
Então, a poluição não era menor, mas era exportada para os produtores. Então, os europeus tinham bastante benefícios do que outros países. Então, como vemos,
from the beginning of we start with slave trade and the industrial revolution all the way to the globalization. What lies behind
então, a exploração era o papel do capitalismo.
Exploitative role of capitalism. And what is it that drives capitalism?
Então, qual é o denominador comum do capitalismo? É a busca pelo lucro.
You've seen that every change that happened in the structures were motivated by that the new change was necessary to maintain the rates of profit.
Toda a exploração do capitalismo era causa da ambição pelo lucro.
Will be eradicated by market forces and
todas as transações econômicas têm que gerar lucro. Se não gera lucro, deve ser fechado. Então, assim, o capitalismo cresce. Aumentando os economicamente dependentes e aumentando a exploração dos recursos naturais e humanos. Esta é a essência do capitalismo.
The natural world. Why do I say that it's worse? Because human resources, yes, it's terrible for the people it happens, but you can, anytime you like, change. If you can make a revolution, or you can reverse it, and so on. You can actually start to treat people better. But if we destroy enough of the natural world, there will be nothing left to go back to. And this is what is happening.
Se destruirmos todos os recursos naturais, não vamos ter nada para aproveitar.
At the rate or below a rate of the planet can regenerate itself, it's like the bucket on the left. The water that is going out is the same amount as the water coming in. But if we start to take out more from the world, the planet can actually
Aqui temos uma figura que representa bem essa situação, que temos um balanço entre o que entra e o que sai com relação ao planeta.
And if we do it too far, then the whole ecosystem will collapse. And even there's no
No segundo caso,
ability of the ecosystem
sai mais água do que entra, então não é um sistema sustentável.
The time when we globally started to take out more resources from the world than
O tempo em que a humanidade não ficou sustentável foi na década de 1970, em que a nossa pegada ecológica superou a capacidade do planeta de crescer.
But once the ecological footprint is higher than the biocapacity, we get an ecological deficit, which you see in the
Então, em 1970, entramos num déficit ecológico.
And this happens when the economy keeps on growing.
Isso acontece quando a economia continua crescendo. George Monbiot disse que quase todos os sistemas econômicos têm a premissa do crescimento econômico, o que prejudica a vida no planeta. Então, é impossível esse crescimento perpétuo da economia enquanto vamos deixando de lado o planeta. Então temos um problema. Kenneth Boulding disse que qualquer um que acredita que o crescimento exponencial pode ser infinito está errado. Então, o que acontece quando uma curva ultrapassa a outra, como aconteceu em 1970? Vamos simplificar isso.
The green is the carrying capacity of fish, and the
Um exemplo com peixes.
is how much fish we take out.
O amarelo é o tanto de peixe que tiramos. Então, por um período curto, podemos tirar mais peixes do que são produzidos ou do que os peixes nascem. Mas chega uma hora em que isto chega a um colapso. Então, peixes não nascem mais, não é possível retirá-los. Então, temos que retirar menos do que nascem.
Limits to Growth Report, which made computer simulations of what would happen.
Temos aqui uma representação computacional e várias simulações a partir das ações que são tomadas. Esse cenário é sobre a economia. Há 40 anos,
the business as usual scenario. We have not done anything to
tivemos outro cenário
limit the amount of energy we are using, or anyway trying to restrict the growth of the economy. And as we see here now, we are in 2020s. This is, you have to see the 20. Do you see if I move my cursor? Is that shown in?
Vocês estão vendo onde eu estou colocando o cursor?
If I point something, do you see it or you don't see it?
Yes, we see.
Okay.
Sim, estamos vendo. Tá bom.
250, so 220 here. So we are actually at the time here.
Então, nós estamos bem aqui nesta linha
the slowing down of
em que
industrial output per capita, not complete, but per capita per person.
a comida por pessoa está diminuindo, a poluição está crescendo, os recursos estão diminuindo, as mortes estão aumentando e os nascimentos diminuindo.
It's a frightening scenario. And with the capitalist economy, okay, and we say here that once the footprint has grown beyond the sustainable level,
Uma vez que a pegada ecológica cresce além do sustentável nível que já está acontecendo, nós eventualmente vamos cair. Esta curva irá cair. Então, as mudanças climáticas tornam impossível algumas práticas. Então, uma questão apenas de como. Nós temos que controlar o meio que fazemos para o crescimento sustentável. Agora, a pergunta é: se você pensa nos países africanos, com o capitalismo, temos que pensar que seguindo no sistema capitalista, estamos nos enganando. O capitalismo lidera a destruição e a fragilidade da África. Perpetua a não qualidade para a maioria da população.
High living standards in other countries. And it is actually, we say this is racism, but it's not really racism because capitalists don't care.
Falamos que isso é raça, mas isso não é raça. O capitalismo não está ligado para a raça, mas eles falam das raças para aumentar os conflitos.
The same development in Europe, it means that we're going to have black capitalists instead of white capitalists, but the greed that underlies the feature of capitalism is the same regardless who it is. There are good and bad people in Europe, and it's good and bad people in Africa. The problem was that it was the bad people and the greedy people, the capitalism in Europe, that
Então, o capitalismo controla o crescimento das populações dos países, continuando na escravidão. velada.
Donut, which I find is very good in demonstrating the idea of a sustainable economy.
Eu achei aqui uma boa demonstração da economia sustentável. Aqui a fronteira exterior é a fronteira do meio ambiente. Água limpa, camada de ozônio, biodiversidade, uso da terra, mudanças climáticas. Mas se nós não produzirmos adequadamente,
so the safe space is in this part of the donut where you keep an economy that is big enough to provide for people's needs, but not as growing just for the sake of growing. Right now, we have an economy that is addicted to growth, and it's
agora temos uma economia que é viciada no crescimento.
It brings prosperity or not. It has to grow. What we need is
E dando prosperidade ou não, tem que crescer.
a sustainable economy that provides the needs for people,
E uma economia sustentável que cresce ou não é importante. Só tem que ser satisfatória às necessidades humanas. Então, aqui temos a diferença entre o capitalismo e o Prout. E temos uma grande diferença de como isso é embasado. Em Prout, respeitamos as pessoas e o planeta para o crescimento sustentável da sociedade, o que não acontece no capitalismo. No capitalismo, forçamos um crescimento não sustentável, enquanto no Prout impomos limites impostos pela natureza. No capitalismo, criamos uma destruição do meio ambiente, enquanto em Prout caminhamos junto com o ambiente sustentável.
Human existence and human civilization.
A estrada
we cannot do it by the approach of the capitalist approach. It will just lead to
para a grandeza da África.
And inequality. What we need to follow an approach like Prout.
Nós temos que seguir o capitalismo, restaurar a grandeza da África, uma economia sustentável, voltada para as necessidades das pessoas, recursos bem distribuídos ao máximo, de maneira que seja sustentável, sustente as pessoas no planeta, e esse será o caminho. Com resiliência da grande África. Obrigado. Eu preparei 1 hora de apresentação. Agora temos perguntas, comentários.
Okay, someone is bringing up the difference between about Baba's writings about history. I cannot.
Bom, temos uma pergunta sobre o livro de Baba. A história pelo caminho. Bom, eu vou fazer
archaeological
apenas
findings that we have found.
alguns comentários sobre achados arqueológicos.
Baba tells us we should follow the intellect and
Baba
rational mind and
fala que temos que seguir o intelecto e a mente racional com informação
state of archaeological findings that
e nos achados arqueológicos
presented in this book. If
que eu
people
mostrei
have
neste
other
livro.
beliefs in it, of course, they are welcome to have it.
E às vezes temos
Do you
outras
have
crenças
an
também.
article, a book with this information?
Outra pergunta, você tem algum artigo escrito
Very long time. It's out of print. It was also
ou
that's
livro
why
com
I
essas
was asked to talk. I
informações?
had another topic. Then I remembered I have a book that was written, was called the
Bom, então o livro que é muito bom
Restoration of African District. It was published
sobre a história africana,
in 1990. And
que
I
fala
used
sobre o
some of
Quênia e
those
a
quotes
África,
in that book. It
e tem
it's possible that one
material
could
sobre
republish it, but I think it's
1990,
print at the moment.
mas eu acho que isso ainda não está impresso ainda.
Hello, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Bon, j'ai un peu une question. Je ne sais pas si la sœur Boubati est en train de me suivre pour traduire.
Sorry, I cannot hear. What's that a question?
Allô?
Yes.
Allô, Boubati? Allô?
Yes. Anyone is trying to ask a question?
Bon, je voulais un peu poser la question par rapport à la situation de l'Afrique. Bon, avec le problème que l'Afrique est en train de traverser sur tous les plans, que ce soit sur le plan politique, économique ou social. Et de l'autre côté aussi, il y a un problème spirituel. Moi, je voulais un peu savoir.
Anyone who can translate the question?
Quem pode traduzir esta pergunta? Meu francês não está bom o suficiente.
His question is unfinished, so let me try to translate it.
Yes,
Ele,
please.
ele não terminou a pergunta, mas eu vou tentar traduzir.
I see.
Namaskar, querido, namaskar.
So what he's telling that regarding
Então ele
the
está
issues of Africa,
falando
that
assim
we see the
que
growth of Africa in economic level
problema
and
da
cultural
África
level,
no
social level, social level, and even spiritual.
em todos os
But the
níveis,
question
social,
now,
econômico,
the question
espiritual.
is,
Ele pergunta
Oui, la question est, quel est le moyen que l'Afrique peut utiliser pour se libérer de cette chaîne du capitalisme?
what are the means that Africa can use to free itself from this type of capitalism?
como a África pode se curar deste problema do capitalismo. Bom, é uma excelente pergunta.
Well, okay, I'll make
Tá
a
bom.
patent funny kind of reply and say that's to try to work to implement Prout, but of course that's
Bom,
not
temos que
the
trabalhar para a
only
implementação de
solution to
Prout.
this, but the time is
Claro que não é a única solução, mas
It took us over an hour to discuss this, to go in a strategy.
precisamos de um bom tempo para falar sobre isso.
Coming out with another book, which I hope we publish soon, which will be gives a little bit, at least my views on how changes to the entire capitalist system can and will be done. But I would just say, like,
Como as mudanças do capitalismo serão dadas? O capitalismo é tão poderoso e mudou tanto o mundo. Se nós falarmos que ele tem possibilidade de continuar, então provavelmente não há problema que possa, não há algo que possa derrubá-lo. mas tem algo que é mais poderoso que ele, que é a natureza em si, em que o capitalismo vai chegando aos limites impostos pela natureza, como eu mostrei agora. Então, ela já regula o capitalismo, pois quando saímos da sustentabilidade, o planeta já responde e grandes mudanças vêm. Então, a pergunta é: o quanto mais certo, mais perto provocarmos uma mudança consciente para fazer uma transição, melhor. Se não chegaremos a um colapso. Temos outra pergunta sobre capitalismo e Prout, que a diferença, a escolha, o link que falamos há várias décadas é a escolha entre Prout ou outra economia sustentável ou um colapso geral de toda a economia. Se algo não é sustentável, não deve continuar. Então é o que deve ser feito agora. Estamos lutando a todos os anos para a economia, para ter mais tempo, mas estão acabando nossos recursos. Eu posso falar mais detalhadamente disso num livro. Tem mais uma pergunta em português.
Brazil.
Temos uma pergunta em português.
The cradle of civilization. Why Africa didn't give us the first spiritual master? That is a question that is asked. Why the first spiritual master didn't come from Africa since everything? So that is from Umesh from Belo Horizonte.
I don't see a logical link. It's to say, because the first person was born in a certain place, it must have the fastest runner, or because someone is that they would have the higher level of spirituality. Who decides where Tarak Brahma is reincarnating? I mean, probably he'll take his place in a place where he thinks that it will have the most impact on society, but I don't see a causal link between the two. But on the other side,
a pergunta foi: uma vez que a África é o berço da civilização, como não nos outorgou o primeiro mestre espiritual? Bom, eu não vejo link entre essas questões, mas temos muitas religiões, superstições na África.
I studied it one time. I forgot his name now. This is like 30 years ago or something like that. 30, 40 years ago, I was in this. But there is one book called The Arkan Doctrine of God, which was written by someone. I forgot what his name is now. He was imprisoned by Nkrumah, Kwame Nkrumah, and they destroyed someone's thing. But the concepts there were very, very close to Baba's philosophy. If you talk about the supreme consciousness operating principles, they were
Bom, sistemas operativos.
How the soul and the mind is structured. It was exceedingly subtle and rare. So I'm feeling that all these subtle and the really things that were destroyed. So I'm not saying that they were the greatest spiritual things came from Africa. I have no evidence, but I'm saying that the little hints I see is that there is a possibility that there was a much greater spiritual awareness than what we think. The same as we have destroyed the idea of the civilizations. It seemed we could possibly also have destroyed the spiritual ideas and the understanding that existed. Once you destroyed the whole culture and everything, there's nothing left. So we don't know what was there.
Yes, exactly. And including, as you confirmed also, I think what you said about Egypt is the same thing that was said by Cheikh Anta Diop, the Senegalese guy who studied very much Egypt. So at some point, Egypt was led by some type of priest leadership, you know. So there is strong spirituality which was there, from where even mystical groups of Europe later on learned many things and grew up. So I believe there was, yes, as you just
We
answered.
don't know. In Egypt, we have a unique thing because of the
Temos uma questão única.
written literatures. But you see everywhere in India.
Você vê em todo lugar.
See there is mostly mythology. The same thing in India. If we look at
Na Índia,
popular level of mythology and all the gods and goddesses,
a metodologia e deuses é um pouco besta e crua.
Deep tantric truths, and so we're not as visible, and people really didn't know it, and so there's
A religião das pessoas
gods and goddesses and things like that.
Não é necessariamente importante, pois às vezes é apenas superficial. E às vezes pessoas outras têm maior realização espiritual.
Egypt also there was a deeper understandings of religion than what we could maybe.
Então o Egito entende bastante e tem muitas religiões, assim como na Índia. Embora não tenhamos em alguns países muitos símbolos religiosos, não significa propriamente realização pessoal. A África deve recorrer à sua própria espiritualidade autêntica.
What do you say? Let's say now, what is
Vamos ver agora. Quais são os níveis elevados de espiritualidade? A pior coisa é quando você acusa alguém. Este é o nível mais baixo de religiosidade, mas quando você começa com uma boa filosofia, líderes
and to prove it the point, he took his wife's live dog and nailed it on the board and dissected it while it was alive. And when he was screaming and hurt, he says, these are just automatic reactions. He doesn't feel anything, he doesn't feel pain because he doesn't have a soul, so he cannot do that.
Wow.
And the same, and this has been the leading force of European thinking since then. We disregard nature, we hurt and we eat animals, we destroy them, and we've gone even further. We're destroying the whole ecosystems that we depend on for our survival. It is not that we are, nature is a resource for us to benefit and exploit. We are part of nature. If nature gone, we are gone also. Now, so this is our highly intelligent and sophisticated culture that get this result. But if you look at the animists, who are so primitive and stupid and like that, they feel that everything is interconnected. I cannot do anything here because it will hurt other parts of the creation. Now, this is very close to the latest realization in ecological science, that everything is interconnected. And so if you look at the result of following an animist viewpoint, is that you treat everything with respect. If you kill an animal, you talk to him and apologize that you have to take its life. You make sure that the forests and everything are maintained and like that. It was a highly ecological outlook. So if you say it's primitive, but if the result is that we are protecting the world in such a way that it can promote a sustainable society for generations to come, how can we say that it's primitive? It is actually much more sophisticated than all our intellectual things, because no matter how intellectually smart they are, if the result in that we are committing suicide, collective suicide, by destroying the very nature that we depend on our survival, it's not an indication of us being so much superior to the people who are actually doing the things that are the sensible thing to survive. So I think it's not just a maternal. It looks like both paternal and maternal, patriarchal and matriarchal societies in the past, they were much more knowledgeable and more sensible when it comes to ecological awareness. Okay, now this question about the pyramids visible all around Earth. Yeah, there's a whole history about that. Also, that I have studied it, but I'm not an expert on it.
Bom, não sou especialista nas pirâmides, mas eu estudo. E nossas ideias, as ideias dos livros mostram que tivemos grandes civilizações. Se olharmos a longo prazo, talvez 30 mil anos, temos que olhar para a história, ou milhares e milhares, milhões de anos. Eu não penso que as mudanças... Mas isso é verdade. Na América do Sul, as grandes pirâmides na América do Sul, no Egito, são bem interessantes. Se olharmos para a floresta tropical do Amazonas,
that covered enormous areas of it with roads and so that were kilometers after kilometers of developed things that existed earlier, which is now lost. And we thought that were just very small little civilization, but it seemed to have been very great. So it's not only Africa, it's many other places where civilization seems to have lost and been abandoned.
Yes.
Okay, I think that our 1.5 hours is up. Is there any last
Tá bom.
comment? No one will have otherwise.
1h30 acho que está bom. Se tivermos alguma pergunta, a última ainda para responder,
On the chat, there is no more
podemos fazê-la.
maybe a
Bom,
comment that the class was
No chat não temos
greetings
perguntas, mas a aula foi fantástica,
names and
com
references.
várias referências, nomes. Foi fantástico.
If anyone wants, I have
Muito obrigado.
I just was very, this is just the popular, but if anyone wants greater sources and names and where to study, if you want to African history, Basil Davidson is a good place to start. Actually, he's one of the few Western historians that actually, and about the slave trade, he has a book called African Mother. Anyway, he's written a lot of. Basil Davidson would be a good way to start to learn more about this. Stanley Sakange, which I also quoted, if you can find the book, because he's from Zimbabwe, African Saga would be a good book. He also wrote some fiction, which but very relevant. On Trial for My Country is a very interesting and one maybe his most famous book, but I don't know how far they are imprinted. But Basil Davidson, definitely they will imprint. You can probably even get it on Amazon. Okay, thank you very much then, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.